Hey, somebody's got to boil the peanuts. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You are listening to the Professional Noticer. Here, you and I will use common sense and all the wisdom we can muster to move beyond what is true and go all the way to the truth. With actual listeners in more than 100 countries, I am the Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. This week, the Professional Noticer is sponsored by Tucker ATV, the small town business with the national reputation. You know, the sheer variety of power sport products at Tucker ATV will blow your mind. I mean, they carry the Hustler turf equipment with these unbelievable zero-turn mowers. They have the entire line of Echo power tools. And when I say the entire line, yeah, I know Home Depot has some Echo products, but if you want to see the entire line, let Shannon Tucker show them to you. And of course, Tucker ATV carries every make and model of Polaris ATVs. They have the big Polaris side-by-sides and the even bigger Ranger Crew. Tucker ATV is just one of my favorite stops. I mean, you have to see the showroom to believe this place. The taxidermy, the antique displays, along with a customer service porch. I love the porch with its swing, comfortable chairs, television, free coffee. And when you stop in, Shannon or Lisa Tucker are likely to greet you personally. They treat customers like family, which is why folks from 14 states have done business with Tucker ATV. This is Highway 43 North in Jackson, Alabama. Tucker ATV, the small town business with the national reputation. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on the Professional Noticer. And today we have somebody that's full of both. And I didn't say he was full of it. I say he's full of both. This is my buddy, somebody that I'm so proud. I don't know. I am impressed with myself that I know my guest today. Please welcome Bill Gaither. Hey, buddy, how are you?
And Andy, it's a joy to be with you. Andy Andrews, one of my two favorite people in the world. You are.
Really? And who's the other one? Anybody else?
I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I'll bet. Oh my gosh. You know, I was not kidding when I say that I'm kind of impressed with myself that I'm your friend, because I grew up, my dad was a minister of music. And so I grew up, hearing about you and Gloria and hearing my dad's choirs do, his music. And so when I actually got to know you guys, it took a long time for me to kind of calm down and quit thinking, I bet my parents are laughing about this. I bet my parents are watching me now, and so anyway, you have become, you and Gloria together have become one of the greatest influences in my life. I am proud to say that. And I appreciate you guys so much. And I appreciate your time here today.
Name this tune. Name the tune.
Something happens and I know. He touched me.
You got it. Name this tune.
Wait. You wrote He Touched Me, right?
Yeah, that was a BG tune.
Well, I know that.
Before Gloria.
Oh, really? But what was really funny to me is I recently saw a video of Elvis doing that.
Yeah. Can I tell you an Elvis story?
Yeah.
Gloria and I were doing a concert in Memphis. We knew we had a day free. So let's go down, buy a ticket, go through Graceland. So we did. And there was the what do you call the guy? The guide that took us through. We
The
bought
tour
the tickets,
guide.
tour guide, and there were probably 8 or 9, 10 other folks with us. Went through and they showed us how, and they went into the award room. The only Grammys he ever got were for gospel records. How Great Thou Art, Where No One Stands Alone by Mosey. Mosey wrote that, and he touched me. There were just 10 of us. And when he said he touched me, won a Grammy, I bit my tongue. I was ready to hold my hand up and say, hey,
Yeah.
but I didn't. Are you proud of me to know that I didn't?
I am proud of that.
I came this close, but I didn't. But I did.
I am proud that you wrote it, and I'm proud you didn't break your arm patting yourself on the back. I would have.
You know, Elvis heard the Imperials. We sang it as a trio, and we were just regional. And then the Spear family heard us sing it, so they recorded it. And then the Imperials heard the Spear family sing it, and they recorded it. And they did that definitive quartet arrangement that only Henry Slaughter could do. And then the Imperials backed up Elvis on stuff, and Elvis heard the Imperials sing it. And he said, and he sang the exact same arrangement they did. And when they went up a fourth, where the tenors took it, he touched me. Oh, he touched me. Elvis thought he was a tenor. So he went up and took it to the very end and hit a B flat. Now he didn't hold it for very long and made me whole, only an octave higher, but he did the same arrangement.
Wow. Wow. Oh
now,
my
see,
God.
with Gloria, you get substance. With me, you get the extra stuff.
We're getting the flash here, baby. Yeah, we're getting all the Elvis stories, all the backstage stuff. Yeah, man. Oh my gosh. So try to.
You know what? We had a producer in the early days. He said, "I want to introduce you to these two. This is Edith Ethereal. This is Peter Practical."
Oh my gosh. What are you, if you had to choose a song that you're most, I don't know, what's a song you're most proud of, or a song that you feel like you were put on this earth to write?
Yeah.
Do you think in terms of that?
Yeah. That's a good question rather than what's your favorite one, because they're all your little babies.
Sure.
And some of the little babies are prettier than the other little babies. But I think I'm pretty proud of His Love Went On Reaching. His love went on longing, reaching right past the shackles of my mind. I like that one. And then I like, because I think it's honest, at least for me, I believe. Help thou my unbelief. I take the finite risk of trusting like a child. I believe. Help thou my unbelief. I walk into the unknown, trusting all the while. Here's a Gloria lyric and a Bill music. I long so much to feel the warmth that others seem to know. You ever feel like you're on the outside looking in?
Yeah.
But should I never feel a thing, I claim him even so. I believe. Help thou my unbelief. I walk into the unknown, trusting.
Wow.
Pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of that, because I think the doubters get kicked around a lot in the kingdom of God, you know.
Sure.
But Jesus didn't kick Thomas out. He said, "There's a place for you, Thomas. Come on," you know. And there are times, and it's all scripture, I believe, help thou my unbelief. To me, one of the best songs of the last century, gospel songs of the last century, was written by Ira Stamphill, not by Bill and Gloria Gaither. And it basically, I think, helps the doubter, saying, many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow. I love that. And I know who holds my hand. I love the guy who says, I don't have it all figured out, but I just know I'm in good hands. You know,
Yeah.
Allstate says you're in good hands with Allstate. Well, maybe so in insurance. I'm not going to knock it one way. But the real good hands, the eternal good hands, are the hands of Jesus. And I just loved Ira was a pastor, was Assembly of God pastor down in Dallas. What a sweet, sweet man. Many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand. Does that apply today? You're talking about our songs that I am proud of. Here's a fun tune. I just feel like something good is about to happen. I just feel like something good is on its way. What's the next one, Brianna? He has promised that he'd open all of heaven. And brother, it could happen any day when God's people humble themselves and call on Jesus. And expecting as they pray, I just feel like something good is about, Jesse goes, I just feel like something good is about to happen. And brother, it could be this very day. There was a verse in that we wrote back in the 70s, or I think I wrote this one.
Yeah.
Like Gloria's had her time, so I'm breaking this one. I've noticed all the bad news in the paper. It seems like things are bleaker every day. Oh, but for the child of God, it makes no difference because things are going to get better. Either way, I've never been more thrilled about tomorrow. Sunshine's always breaking through. The clouds are gray. I just feel like something good is about to happen. And brother, this could be that very day. I like that one. So when you say what's your favorite, it just depends on what day. One day it could be, I believe, and the other day it could be a song of optimism like that. So
the Gaither Vocal Band needs to do that one again.
I thought you'd never ask that question. On our brand new CD, if you've enjoyed this brief television presentation, you're going to love the new full-length home video of the Gaither Vocal Band.
Oh my gosh. Did y'all really do that?
We just re-recorded it for the same reason. I wrote it back in the 70s. This may even be before you were born, Andy. I don't know.
No.
We had gas lines and it was scary because President Nixon got on the camera and said, we're running out of gas. And we said, boy, what are we going to do? And the gas lines would go clear down. And the economy, it was tough. Things were just tough. And so Gloria and I looked at that and said, history has revealed this world's never been very stable. Just one crisis after the next. Last year was a pretty tough year.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I can't remember one that tough where everything was shut down. But this old ship's been through battles before.
Boy, that sounds like a good line of a song right there.
Yeah,
this old ship's been through battles before.
Storms and tempests and rocks on the shore.
Whoa, here we go. I want people to know something. This is one thing that when I'm talking about you and Gloria, and I tell friends, I say, okay, all right, so I want you to think about this. ASCAP, it's like the only game in town. These guys, they're the music people, the royalty people, and so they do the ASCAP Songwriter of the Year. And that's basically whoever's had the most happen, right? It's the recordings and the videos and the music in the elevators and on the television and the sheet music and, and CDs and on the radio, everything. And so that's the Songwriter of the Year. And it's done kind of like the PGA Golfer of the Year. It's the person who's done the most in the year. And so Bill and Gloria were not Songwriter of the Year. They were Songwriter of the Century. And everybody's jaw just drops. And I've teased you before. I can't believe I mean, because, you think about that songwriter of the century. I mean, that's Billy Joel, that's Elton John, that's all these people who people think have really done a lot, and you are still alive and you have songs in the hymnal.
It's interesting. I'm sitting here in our studio and we have a little small museum out there. I used to kid our fellow artists at the Dove Awards. I would say, I think I'm going to say that if I get this award, I'm going to say, as Christian songwriters and Christian singers and performers, we're not supposed to be seeking for awards and seeking for attention and seeking for people noticing what you do or fame. However, if it comes our way, we will accept it. And we'll put it up. We'll put it up in a little awards room. And in all fairness, we've got, I think, 5 or 6, maybe 7 Grammys out there and several Dove Awards. And I never knew why
several 5 or 6, 50 or 60 and several hundred. All right, go ahead.
And to be honest with you, I never knew why I got them and why we didn't get them. And sometimes I would say, who voted? Who voted? This Christian songwriter of the century thing that ASCAP gave to us, I came home from that and I said to Gloria, this is pretty impressive because this was based on radio stations and television stations writing to get licenses to play your tune. So that wasn't just people voting because I never understood the voting thing. As I said, we got them and we didn't get them. And no writer sits down and says, I'm going to write this and we're going to win a Grammy on it. Whether he's a Christian or whether he's a secular writer, I don't think Hank Williams sat down and said, now see, what would be the demographic on this song if I wrote this? Hear that lonesome whippoorwill. An Alabama boy, by the way. He sounds too blue to fly. The midnight train is whining low. I'm so lonesome I could cry. I think it's one of the greatest songs ever written. It's pathos. He didn't sit down and say, I'm going to write this and get an award.
Right.
He was lonely. He'd lost his woman. And he said, and as I wonder where you are, I'm so lonesome I could cry. I don't think he did that for an award. And so help me, our best songs we've ever written, we didn't sit down and say, hey, I remember when we wrote Because He Lives. And we got done with it. I told Gloria, I said, I think this is pretty good. I didn't think it was as good as It Is Finished or The King Is Coming. But I said, I think it's pretty good. And it turned out to be our biggest song that we've ever done. I don't think you ever know when you write. You just write them because if you don't write them, you're going to burst. I mean,
I talked to Gloria a little while back and I mentioned this to her. And this was like some kind of odd moment in my life. And I think it must have been in yours. And it was only one in mine because I know you. But when the COVID thing started happening and people started sheltering all over the world, and that video that came out of Brazil of those people going out on the balcony of those skyscrapers at night and all over the city singing Because He Lives, just that a cappella sound all over that city. How did that make you feel?
That's overwhelming. It was over. We've been to Brazil, and the people are as sweet as they can be, and they love our music. When we sang Because He Lives, all of a sudden we couldn't hear us sing. We had a PA, but there were 8,000 people out there who totally took it away from us. They sing it in a foreign language in Portuguese, and it dawned on me then these are not your songs, Bill.
Right.
You just happened to be there at the right time. You held the pen, but they're not your songs.
It's a
And
healthy way of looking at it.
And I think real writers and real creators, people say, do you write every day? No. Do you write every week? No. We don't write until there's an idea that's been building up and we have said, this needs to be said. I can remember on I Am Loved that we were dealing with just regular people who love Jesus, who've been born again, who started out for the kingdom, and that's what they wanted to do, and they were totally committed. And there were some of the most unhappy people, not all of them, but I mean, these people I'm talking about were so unhappy. And we got thinking, do they know how much they're loved? And could we write a song that would tell them that the one who knows them the best loves them the most? And so we wrote, I am loved, I am loved, I can risk loving you, for the one who knows me best loves me most. I am loved, you are loved. Won't you please take my hand? We are free to love each other because we are loved. We thought, and night after night, you know me, I'm a salesman. I mean, if I find something good, I want you to get that. So night after night, we would say, sing that song again. You've got to take this home with you. I am loved. And I can remember Gary doing the verse. I said, if you knew, you wouldn't want me. My scars are hidden by this face I wear. Oh, but he said, my child, my scars go deeper. It was love for you that put them there. And then we'd say to the crowd, sing it with us, I am loved, I am loved, I can risk life. We did that one night in Davenport, Iowa. There was an old farmer on the front row. I know farmers, I grew up on a farm. Had a literal red neck. I mean, he wasn't a redneck, but the sun had burned his neck. And I would say to him, take the hand of your, or to the crowd, take the hand of your neighbor. He was sitting by his wife. He just sat there. I know his wife had said, we want to go to this concert. And he said, oh, for crying out loud, if you want to go, we'll go, So he just sat there. We sang it 2 or 3 times. Take the hand of your neighbor. He wouldn't do it. And Andy, you know me, I had some jokes and I thought I was funny and I was charming. Everybody was laughing except him. He was sitting like, will this ever get over? At intermission, the musicians were talking, said, did you see that guy on the front row? He's not having a very, very good time. So the second half, we go out again, we sing some other songs. And then I said, just in case you did not get that message, let's sing it again. I am loved. I want you to know that you're loved. And then I said, I hate leaders on the platform who do this, but I did it that night. Put your arm around.
Oh no, that poor guy.
He just sat there, and his wife and the other couple, they were putting their arms around each other. Not him. True story. Gloria walked off the platform. The stage was not very high, like a couple feet up, walked down a couple steps, went down to him. She was 35, 40 years old, just beautiful, young. She's always beautiful. Put her arm around him, and tears ran down his face. And I saw him reach over and take his wife's hand. And I say, yes, that's why we do what we do, When Gloria came up on the platform after that was over with, I said, you don't give up, do you, honey? You don't give up. That's called you're a communicator. That's called, if you're called to be a communicator, you feel something burning inside of you. And you say, if I can sell this idea, if I can convince him that he doesn't have to be going through life like this, he can be going through life like this. It's worth your time.
Wow. I'm glad to hear that you and Gloria don't write every day or even every week. I'm glad to hear that because I always thought that I was just like a slacker or something because that's kind of, I mean, and that's kind of what I do. I don't write unless I have this burning thing in me. And so I'm really relieved to hear that because you guys are like my heroes. And I never knew that. You know, Jimmy Erie is like my little brother. Well, Jimmy writes every day. Jimmy goes to an office and writes, and I
You know
don't.
what? You know what? I respect guys who do that. And there are guys in Nashville who go to the office every day and they write something. And there is a writing theory that says that is one way to do it. And I am glad for that. Uh, it doesn't fit me. There are days I don't want to see the keyboard, and there are days that I just want to read and soak in. I want to read a new Andy Andrews book. I want to read a new uh, I just read a biography on Andrew Jackson, and you always get new things when you read. Especially, I love historical things. But
Yeah,
here's a quote. Here's a quote I never heard before. You know, he was like a bull in a china shop as far as the
right.
president. He just drive and get anything done. He was that as a general, in New Orleans, down there close to you. I mean, he got it done. I mean, he was a general. And somebody asked when he died, do you think General Jackson went to heaven? And the old lady thought for a while and she said, if General Jackson wanted to go to heaven, who in the world's going to stop him? And I run across quotes like that, and I think, and I got a little hook book now. I don't know if I doubt if you could turn that into a tune, but I will. One of his quotes was, "I was made for the storm." Pretty good quote.
Ooh, yeah.
I will write down little hooks that I read in the book. I remember one time reading a book, and the hook was, Jesus, you're the center of my joy. And I wrote it down. And there is a great African American gospel artist and songwriter named Richard Smallwood, graduate of Howard University, a great keyboard player. He was on Word Records. And so Word Records said, why don't you and Richard try to write something together? They put us up in a writing room. So we went in and I said, how much time we got? He said, 30 minutes. I said, okay, that's right. He said, do you have an idea? And I said, yeah, Jesus, you're the center of my joy. We sat down and in Jesus, you're the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. Now, all we had was Jesus, you're the center of my joy. And then we da 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 da. You're the da 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 da. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. He said, what are we going to do about the da-da-das? I was in Nashville. And I said, I have a lady up in Alexandria who filled in those da-da-das very, very beautifully. So I came home and showed her what we had done, showed her the chorus. And so she finished it. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. All that's good and perfect comes from you. You're the hope of my contentment, strength for all I do. Jesus, you're the center of my joy. Richard took it, recorded it, and in 1989, it won the Stellar Award, which is the Black Gospel Music Award of the year. And we went to New York to receive that with Richard. Whitney Houston was there at the Apollo Theater, and all the great Black gospel singers. Her mother, Sissy, was a gospel singer.
Right.
So
Man.
much.
Huh? See, you've won so many awards, you don't even know the awards you've won. In fact, let me tell you something, Bill Gaither. You have won so many awards, you don't even know that I have one of them.
Which one do you have?
I have the Dove Award, Give It Away. You gave it away and didn't even know it. I've got it in my office. Yeah.
If you want more happy than your heart can hold, if you want to be Come on, Brianna, you know all these lyrics. See,
Stand taller if the truth were told.
if you want to stand taller, if the truth are told, then take whatever you have and give every night. Here again, it was a campaign. And when we got to that line, I said to the crowd, yell for us, give it away, give it away. And every night we would do a drawing and give away $1,000 to the winner with one stipulation. They couldn't spend it. They had to go give it away to somebody and then tell us about the story. It was a great, that's how you write songs. That's how you write anything. You find an idea that could change people's lives forever.
Yeah. Well, I've got that devil word, buddy. Yeah. So it's so someday when Benji and the rest of them are, looking through the words and go, where's the one for give it away? I'll go, I have your dad and mom's. Oh my gosh. One of the things this is kind of a silly little odd fact known by few, but I think this is just kind of a funny thing. And I guess I'm kind of proud of this too, because this shows that I'm your friend. But I tell people sometimes, if somebody says, you know Bill Gaither, right? And I say, oh yeah. Yeah, Bill calls me every now and then. About half the time he thinks he's calling his son-in-law, Andrew, because we're right there next together. And I'll go, hey, you calling me or your son? Andy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother you. But you ain't bothered me. I don't know how many of those calls I've gotten, but
I know. Yeah, you're right in there. You're right there in the A's, and I just go boop, and I come close.
There is something about you, and this is you. I mean, I think of you most with you and Gloria, but this part is you, and that is, I've told a lot of people through the years that there are two people that have lived on this earth that are the very best at just taking people and getting conversations and moving something along. And that's Johnny Carson and Bill Gaither. And I'm totally serious about that. Some of the greatest times in my life have been sitting up on that stage with all those artists and watching that take place and watching you and of course they are all blown away all the time because they're, when I started doing some stuff with you guys and started sitting back there and I realized these people didn't know which song they were about to sing. It blew me away. It went against anything I had ever heard of in my life. That night after night after night, these people, they didn't even know which song I've literally seen West Hampton. I've seen music start and you point at Wes, and I've seen Wes stand up, sitting right beside me, stand up and say, what song is this? What song is this? And David Phelps go, it's so-and-so. And Wes take the microphone and right smoothly into it. But that created just like every night you weren't getting what the people last night got. And the people tomorrow night, you had to be here tonight because this is once in a lifetime, literally. And I think the artists felt that. I think that when they're with you, they feel that. I do. But you are so brilliant at carrying that. And Johnny Carson was.
You're very kind. You know what? One of the things I try to do on the nightly concerts is this. Some of the basic stuff, we do the same, and some of the humor stuff, is the same.
But it still has the illusion of spontaneity, even that stuff.
But the serious stuff that we do night after night changes because when you're talking about serious stuff like the crucifixion, life-changing stuff about, getting free and out of bondage from any kind of addiction. You want to talk about that is serious. That is serious stuff. And to find a different way to approach some. Now we do it most of the time on the serious tunes by not doing back to back the same thing, even the same song. But even the approach, I think you got to trust the Holy Spirit at that point. I'll never forget, we didn't do much television in the 60s, 70s, 80s. I wish we probably should have done more. Most of the TV we did with the Billy Graham Crusades and a few, but I didn't want to do any weekly TV because I just didn't like, you were put in a box to do it. And finally, in 1991, we went into a studio in Nashville to do one song. Living below in this old sinful world, where could I go? Where could I go? And we wanted to get some of our heroes from the past, Howard, Vestal, Jake, Hovey, George, Glenn, get them all in one room and help us sing it just for one song. And we got that one song in 3 hours because you just keep going over the same lines. Vestal would come in and we do Life Here is Grand with Friends I Love So Dear. We get along a sweet accord. And she come in, but when my soul only 2 octaves higher needs manna from above, where could I go? But we got all that done. And then at noon, we brought in fried chicken and ate, and then we're going to take a picture at 1 o'clock around the piano. Eva May was there. Larry Gatlin was there. And he said, Eva May, play something. And we started singing, I will meet you in the morning by the bright riverside, when all sorrows were taken. They started singing, tears rolled down the face. And a couple cameras were watching. We didn't know they were watching. They were watching everything we did. And then we go to another song. We'd well, it wouldn't take nothing for my journey now. I got to make it. Song after song after song. And for 3 or 4 hours, we would just sing. And somebody said, I can remember when we sang this. And these cameras were watching. After it was over with, I said, why are you going to do that? Oh, we just need to get a second or two, somebody hugging each other. Why are you going to do the rest of it? We're going to throw it away. I said, can I see it? They said, yeah. Gloria and I sat in our bedroom and watched this scratch stuff. And it wasn't done perfectly or anything, but it was people being people. Just sitting there, tears rolling down our face. And I said, now I can do that kind of TV where I'm not performing for a camera. All I am doing is what I do. And if you want to watch me, fine. But this is who I am. Never knowing that was the first homecoming video. And it wasn't perfect. We put it out there. And even, I forget, 700 Club said, can I run it? And I said, this is not network quality. He said, no, but it's got this. So finally, after 2 decades of saying no to TV, I said, oh, if we can do this, if I can do what I'm doing now, nobody told me what to say. There's no script. If we can do this, I can do this all day.
Bill, do you have any idea how many tens of millions of copies of videos and CDs of that have been sold?
Yeah. The last I heard on the combination of all of them together, Brianna, you can help me here. It seemed like there's over 40 million out there with accompanying CDs, and it was amazing. It was totally a mistake. Somebody said, "Oh, Bill, you're brilliant." No, I wasn't brilliant or genius. All we were doing was doing what we were doing at the cameras were 10 miles away. And that's the way, that's the reason I like what I'm doing here. Nobody told me what to do. You didn't set me, every now and then I'll do an interview and say, what, you want me to send you the questions in advance? Oh, no. Surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, golly. Yeah, truly.
This
And,
this is fun.
one of
You
the
know, if the cameras weren't on, we'd be doing the very
we
same
would be
thing.
doing exactly like this. That's exactly right. We'd be doing exactly like this. And I I think sometimes I love to watch people, and I love to watch people that I know something. I know that I will see something, and so when I'm around you and Gloria, if I'm not the one talking to you or something, I'm always keeping an eye on you. And one of the things that I've noticed throughout my time being around you guys is that while now, do you mind me asking how old you are? How old are you?
Yeah, I'm 84. I'll be 85 in March.
Okay, so you're so much older than Gloria, just like you're so much older. But it's amazing to me to be in cities and see these young singers and pop stars and people that they just, I mean, I remember seeing you with Paul Simon one time and thinking, everybody thinks Paul Simon is a big deal. Okay, so who does Paul Simon think a big deal is? Paul Simon thinks Bill Gaither is a big deal.
You know what? He came out to we did the concert at Carnegie Hall, and he'd always used Jesse Dixon's singers, his black gospel group from Chicago, as backup. And he loved Jesse, and Jesse introduced me to Paul. Paul asked me an interesting question. He was backstage. He said, "How in the world do you get all of those singers who are stars in their own right, doing what they're doing, just out there singing backup for whoever is up there doing it?" I said, I don't know that it's done on purpose. It's just, if you love people, you want to see them win. I think there are several keys here. I think number one, I really think you need to learn to laugh at yourself and not take yourself too seriously. Because if you don't, if you do that, you're just going to beat the other person. you know, whatever good things ever happened to me, it's I'm not the most gifted keyboard player in the world. Ben Spear one time said to me, he said, "Bill, I've never heard anybody play as long as you have played and improve as little as you have improved." and so with all of our musicians, that's a big joke. So let me fast forward ahead. He said that back in those days, back in the 90s, when we were doing all of those tracks for the homecoming videos. Ben died about 5 or 6 years ago, I think. And in his last year or so, he had Alzheimer's. And so Gene McDowell and I would go out to see him. And towards the end, he would acknowledge you. I came in one day and he was there with his wife eating a little bit of spaghetti. He was always a slow eater. Did a little dab of spaghetti with some marinara sauce. So I think he was doing about one noodle at a time. And so she said, Bill and Ben are here. And he's so sweet and kind. He looked up with those kind spear eyes and he went, but he didn't say anything. So we tried to engage him and talk with him. And he would just look and smile, take another bite, real slowly take another bite. And we tried to say, remember the time we were in somewhere? And he go, wouldn't nod his head, would just took another bite, took another bite. So I thought maybe, just maybe, if I'd go into the piano and play an old song that his daddy wrote, an old convention tune, that might, stimulate his memory. So I went and did this. God's amazing grace sent down from heaven, rescued me from sin and from strife. It's the old song, I am his and he is mine, and I his forever. I'm messing up the song. So I played a little bit of it, and it came back to see if he had recognized the song. And I came back in and I said, "Would you still hire me, Ben?" And he looked up and said, "No." And the only thing he said in the 30 minutes we were there, "No, I wouldn't hire you again." And I said, "Yes, yes, we are still friends." So friends, who's ever listening, don't take yourself too seriously. There's always a keyboard player better than you are. There's always a singer better than you are. There's always a talker, a writer better than you are. It doesn't make any difference. We're a part of a beautiful body, and it takes it all to make it work.
Man, I got so much. I could keep talking to you all day, but that's a good place to stop for now. I would love to reserve the right to ask you back, buddy. You and Gloria both. I was just thinking as you're talking, I am refreshed when I'm around you guys. I really am, and I think that's a great answer to Paul Simon's question. How do you get all these people to do this? Because that has been some of the greatest moments, literally some of the greatest moments of my life have been sitting back in that group. And, Sonia Isaacs right here and maybe Charlotte Ritchie right here. And then somebody go up on stage and see you look over your shoulder and point to Sonia, point to Charlotte, maybe point to Wes, and they get a microphone and right there in their seats, sing it back up. And I'm sitting right next to Sonia Isaacs and I'm hearing her sing that. And that is a respect for other people that you have taught us with a great example. Because Paul Simon's right. He had never seen that before. And that is nothing in the world but those artists respecting each other and helping each other. And that has just been following right along with you and Gloria. You've been a great example for me, buddy.
You're so kind, Andy. I think you're referring mostly to the cruises. We do a lot of things, but there are things that happen on that crazy ship that doesn't happen anyplace else. And I do not know why. Because every night, on the very first night, I tell all the artists, you don't have to be here every night. If there's some nights you need some time off, now to me, I don't want anything happening that I'm not in on because I don't want to miss anything, And 90% of the artists feel the same way about it. Every now and then, Mark has to take a nap or something, But
Mark, Mark.
Yeah, Mark is Mark. But that is a special thing. Everybody's in very, very close. The room only holds, I think, 800-900, maybe 1,000 people, and everybody's close. And when they start singing, there is something happens on. And by the way, you're going to be with us on the cruise this summer in Alaska.
On the Alaska one, yeah.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to that. And everybody will be tested before you get it. But I tell you. There is a special thing because by the end of the week, we all know each other and every night is different. And to be honest with you, I can't wait till the next one to find out what it is that I'm going to be calling. So, because I never know.
But, I get to the end of those weeks because I've done the big events on land and I've done the cruises with you. With those cruises, you're right. It's like, when you guys take over a cruise ship, there is no other entertainment on the ship. It's all your people. It's all your guests. And so it's 2 shows a night every night. And I got to say, I go into those weeks going, I might take a couple of nights. But then I never do. And I get to the end of that week, and every single time I have said, you know what? 7 nights, we've done 2 shows a night. I didn't do any of it. I just sat there while they're all singing. I just sat up there, and Bill got me up, and I told one story, and if you want to do it next week, I'll do it again right now. I mean, I'm just that blown away by it and that energized and refreshed by it. And so I appreciate what you have brought into my life and what you and Gloria have brought into the life of my family and into this world today. I just appreciate and love you so much.
Beautiful family, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
very much. Thank you, buddy. And I will see you soon.
Love you, my friend.
I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing that tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, smile while you talk. Don't breathe anybody else's air. Not time to do that yet, but make sure you have a positive answer to the question, hey, how's it going? And so, until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limpert. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Beef Heart Popsicles provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by the Steel Grizzly. The Steel Grizzly is simply the strongest butcher knife on the market today, just recently made available to the public because of this great demand. This knife is the best ever made. Called the unrelenting workhorse of the industry, the Steel Grizzly will slice through anything like it's slicing through warm butter. Chicken, pork, beef, vegetables, fingers. This thing will slice through it all. We have even used it to slice through leather shoes. But really, why would you ever need to do that? We don't know either. But if you need to, this knife can do it. Other butchers' knives will cost you hundreds of dollars with their sturdy construction and quality performance. The Steel Grizzly shatters those norms. You can get the Steel Grizzly for 3 easy payments of $19.95 and 1 additional payment of $227.50. The Steel Grizzly comes with a lifetime warranty, so if it ever dulls, breaks, or falls apart in your hand, it's no problem. You can send it in, and 6 months later, we will send you a replacement for a small courtesy fee of $143.75. Call now. Only available while supplies last. Please limit your order to 10 knives per household.